So tomorrow I'm going to take the Concept Z out to the field and hopefully accomplish two things. Now the first thing I hope to accomplish is to put it through the half-ounce lipless crankbait test. And the second thing is probably more important, and that's to see if bearings are going to help the Concept Z cast farther. And I mean these bearings right here. I've already test fitted them to the Concept Z and they fit perfectly. And I even soaked them in acetone overnight to get the grease out, and they're spinning pretty freely. Hopefully the camera will pick this up. Hopefully you guys can hear that or see that at least. But yeah, they're spinning pretty good. So hopefully this will let us get to the bottom of the Czb bushing hype. Now of course, 13 Fishing made a bold claim that the bushings will give you a 20% increase in casting. Now apparently they weren't talking about an increase over the CURADO K, but more than likely they were talking about within their own reel lineup or within the Concept Z itself. So what I'm going to do is when I'm out on the field, I'm going to swap the bushings out with bearings and do the same measured casting, and with the aid of these tools I should be able to do that with no problem. So before I end this segment, I'm going to try to show you guys something that people have been asking me in the comments section about bad tolerances with these bushings and the spool shafts. So if you look here, that'll focus, there we go. This one seems pretty good. There's no gap in between the shaft and the bushing, but the other one, there is significant play. Hopefully that'll focus there. You can see right there. Maybe that was done on purpose. I don't know, but there's significant wiggle or wobble, but I didn't feel anything vibrating out on the field against the CURADO K. But yeah, hopefully you can see that better. So hopefully the weather will be better and there won't be so much wind to skew the results tomorrow. And yeah, let's see what happens. Tension set pretty tight to where the lure hits the ground and there's no loops, as you can see. And because of that tight spool tension, I'm able to run one on internally for the brakes. And of course this is the half-ounce lipless crankbait test. And I am running the bushings. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I have the bushings installed. So here we go. – 139 feet 11 inches. Ah, 120 feet 1 inch. $127 feet 1 inch. Okay, 157 10 inches. $131 and 11 inches. $140 feet, 10 inches. $131 feet, 11 inches. $133 feet, 6 inches. Okay guys, I've just finished the casting with the bushings, so I'm now going to swap them out with these bearings and see what we come up with. And don't worry, the Concept Z is still there. It's not disappeared. See, I know it's hard to see, but here it is right here. So let's go. Okay guys, as you can see, I just swapped out the bushings for the bearings. Here are the bushings. There's the bearing. There's the bearing right there. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I have the ball bearings installed, and I have the spool tension set to Burr 13 Fishings specifications. When the lure hits the ground, there's no overrun, and the internal brakes are still on 1. Now these bearings are dry. I didn't lube them with any kind of oil, so they're really loud, as you'll hear. So here we go. $145 feet, 2 inches. $129 feet, 2 inches. $134 feet, 7 inches. $125 feet, 8 inches. $135 feet, 7 inches. $128 feet, 4 inches. $132 feet, 7 inches. $131 feet, 9 inches. Okay, so before we get to these results, I want to tell you guys that from here on out, for all future tests, the Concept Z is going to have the spool tension adjusted to each lure. Basically what that means is for every lure, I'm going to tighten the spool tension and loosen it to the point where the lure hits the ground. There'll be either no coils or very few coils, because that is the suggestion by the 13 Fishing Internet Troll Brigade. So I'm going to respect their wishes. Now, the wind that day was very on and off. Now, it wasn't blowing nearly as hard as before, but it was kind of on and off. And when I swapped the bushings out for bearings, the wind actually changed directions and started coming to me. So what I did to try to offset this weird wind situation was I measured more cast than usual. I did 8 a piece instead of 5. So let's get to these results. Now, the Concept Z averaged 135.3 feet with the bushings, and with the bearings it averaged 134 feet even. So we're looking at a 1.3 feet average increase. So you're looking at a 1% increase there. Now, what I also did for you guys was I took out the longest and the shortest casts and averaged the median cast, and the results were as follows: 134.16 for the bushings and 132.16 for the bearings. So by limiting the highest and lowest cast, you're looking at a gain of 2 feet. So there you go. I mean, draw your own conclusions. Did the Concept Z bushings definitively outcast the bearings? Now, of course not. Now, this is kind of puzzling because the Concept Z did so well during the casting plug test. Now, it's actually not very puzzling because any reel is going to throw a casting plug very well and very far. I could stick a zip code 202 on that rod and sling a casting plug a long ways. So what's more telling is the actual reel lure abilities. So on the water impressions video, I wasn't too impressed by the way it cast that 1/4 ounce square bill or that top water lure. And with the Lipless crankbait, even though it didn't have hooks, yeah, I was really disappointed by the casting performance. But the Concept Z is going to have quite a few more tests that it goes through to prove itself. It's going to go through the Senko test, the 1/4 ounce square bill test, the 1/8 ounce finesse test, and the heavy topwater test, as well as a bushings battle with the Bass Rise. Okay, so all in all, a very disappointing result considering the hype around this reel for the Concept Z, and that's with bushings and bearings. Now, could I have gotten more distance if I set the spool tension like I like to set it? And of course the answer is yes. But as you know, the 13 Fishing Internet Troll Brigade, they know my casting style better than I do. So from here on out, the spool tension is going to be set just like they like it. So if I was 13 Fishing, I would get rid of the Internet Troll Squad, because apparently all they're good for is getting you kicked off of major bass fishing websites. And what I do with that money is contract out a designer or engineer to design you a proprietary brake system that has way more adjustments and fine-tuning than this. Because you already know that the adjustability of these brakes is what's holding this reel back. Now, I know that Quantum probably has the rights from the factory to the external adjustable brakes, at least the centrifugal ones. So if you hired out a designer to design a braking system for you, you can of course patent it, trademark it, etc., and have your factory either make and install or just install them for you. So there we go, guys, the results of the bushings versus bearings for the Concept Z.